Srinivasan, it's a, I don't know what to say because all of us know him pretty well and we know him. But Professor Srinivasan is known to me from my 6th standard onwards. He was my senior in the school by 3 years, and then we studied under him, myself and Vasudeva. At Vivekananda College, we did MA, and even thereafter, he has been guiding us in all ways. Professor Srinivasan has a PhD in Advaita Vedanta, and also he is traditionally qualified with Shiromani degrees, and he has studied under great stalwarts, traditional scholars like Parahur Kalyana Sundara Shastrigal and K. Balasubramanya Shastrigal, and also E. Balasubramanya Shastrigal, VSV Guruswami Shastrigal, to name a few. And he has been associated with the institute from his college days. And Dr. Janaki also had very high regard on Dr. Srinivasan. Presently, after retiring from the Vivekananda College as head of the Department of Sanskrit and principal of Sanskrit, a principal of Vivekananda College, Dr. Srinivasan is associated with the KSRI as honorary professor. In 5 years ago, in the year 2015, the Kuppuswamy Shastri Research Institute celebrated its 70th anniversary in a grand way. At that time, some chairs were created in the institute, and one was in the name of the great scholar and guru to hundreds and hundreds of people, Sri Brahmasri Anna Subramanya Iyer, who was very closely connected with the Ramakrishna Mutt. He has published so many books. They were all brought out by Ramakrishna Mutt in varied subjects. And Sri Atreya, one of the close disciples of Brahmasri Anna Subramanya Iyer, was mainly instrumental in creating the chair in memory of the great scholar Sri Anna Subramanya Iyer. And this chair was started with a view to perpetuate the memory of the great scholar as well as to impart knowledge in the field of Vedic and Vedantic field. And we could not find a better scholar than Professor K. Srinivasan. And he has been occupying this chair, and he has been also teaching the research scholars of the institute on many subjects, and also he has been taking classes for many of our foreign scholars who visit our institute. He has been giving lectures on various topics, especially under this chair. One was on the Brahmana literature of the Vedas, and 2 lectures on the Adhyasa of Brahma Sutra as propounded by Shankara and his followers, especially Nischala Dasa. And this will be the subsequent lecture or the lecture for this year. And this endowment lecture will host Professor Srinivasan, and he has decided to talk on one of the Adhikaranas in Brahma Sutra, namely Arambana Adhikarana. And we are all eagerly awaiting to listen to Professor Srinivasan, and it is my privilege to pay my respect on behalf of our institute, on my personal behalf and on behalf of Professor Vasudeva. Both of us are his students. So we welcome Dr. Srinivasan in this forum. This is the first webinar lecture, official webinar lecture to be organized by the Kuppuswamy Shastri Research Institute. and this happens to be the 75th anniversary of our institute. So I take privilege to welcome Professor Srinivasan on this auspicious occasion of Dakshinayana Punyakala. And when the Dakshinayana starts, we are going to start with Arambhana also. So Professor Srinivasan has chosen the apt subject. Over to Dr. K. Srinivasan.
Thank you, sir. यस्य प्रसादात् मूकोऽपि वावदूकोऽपि जायते भाष्य भावज्ञ विख्यातः सद्गुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् पंडितानां च राजानं शास्त्रे रत्नाकरोपमं बालपूर्वं गुरुं वन्दे सुब्रह्मण्याभिधं मुदा श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरम्. Thank you, Mr. Balasubramanian, and thank you, staff of KSRI and all other friends. And thank you for inviting me as the inaugural presenter under this webinar program and for this year. And incidentally, I would like to say one thing. This is actually the golden jubilee year of my friendship with Balasubramanian. We started meeting in 1969 at Ahobilam School, and nearly it is now 2020. So good, Mr. Balasubramanian, for your kind words. And now let us proceed with this. Sri Anna Subramanian, I had the fortune of joining Vivekananda College as a staff when Sri Subramanian was the president of the management committee there. In fact, he was the member of the interview board also. And I knew him even before through Professor Kalyan Sundar Sastrikal and through Professor Sri N. Srinivasa Chariyar, who happened to be the member of the management at the Ahobilam School. These are all the people who had close contacts, and because of their association, I had a chance to move with him also, but though not very closely. I moved with him. Thank you. And now this Arambhanadikarana. I would like to give just a few informations about Brahma Sutra and all those things before proceeding directly with Arambhanadikarana. The very famous concept we know, Prasthanatraya. That is essentially, what is the goal of Vedanta? The goal of Vedanta is, as has been stated by Narada approaches Sanat Kumara. That is in the 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. This story is narrated. Narada approaches Sanat Kumara and he says to him, Shrutam Kyevame Bhagavad Drisebhyaha Tarati Shokam Atmavite. I have heard from people like you saying that one who knows, one who has the knowledge of Atman, the self, crosses the suffering, crosses all the sufferings. So Tarati Shokam Atmavite. So Shokatarana is considered to be one of the, not one of the result of Vedanta. The purpose of the study of Vedanta is to get Atmagyana, through which one can cross the ocean of samsara or the Soka as it were. And now, what are the means for this? The means are Prasthana. The means or the way are said to be three. Triad of the, actually all the three together, but it depends on the qualification of the aspirant, depending on whether it is a Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, or Avaradhikari, Kanishtadhikari, like that. So the Prasthanas, the three Prasthanas are Shruti Prasthana, Smriti Prasthana, and Nyaya Prasthana. Shruti Prasthana essentially consists of the Upanishad. They are spoken of as Shruti Prasthana. But not only just the Upanishad, other Upanishads are also there. Even in fact, Shankara himself quotes some of the Upanishads. That is Mandala Brahmana Upanishad, Paingi Rahasya Upanishad, Subala Upanishad, and such Upanishads. Even though he has not written Bhashyas on them, he quotes those Upanishads. And there are two more Upanishads, namely Nrisimha Tapaniya and Shvetastra, on which Shankara is said to have written Bhashyas. Besides the famous, the 10 Upanishads, Ishakena Kata Prasna, Mundamandu Titiri, Aitrayam Chandogyam, Brihadaranykam Vedasa. These are the 10 Upanishads he is supposed to have written. Thus, these are all the Upanishads which are considered to be Upanishad Prasthana, and these Upanishads, they also give us Brahman Jnanad, that is the Atman Jnanad, and then through them one can get Brahma Jnana. But it is not only the Upanishads, it is Karmakanda too. Because in the Kathopanishad it is said, Sarve Veda Yat Padam Amananti. The central purpose of all the Upanishads are the same. They are not different. They are not multiple purposes. It is not like that one Upanishad speaks of karma, another Upanishad speaks of jnana, etc. The central Upanishad, the central purpose of all the Upanishads is dharma. In other words, that is also Brahman. But each Upanishad speaks, or each karma, the previous portion, the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas speak in a different way. Only that much. But they have got this as an ultimate goal. And the next comes Smriti Prasthana. Essentially, Smriti Prasthana is Bhagavad Gita. But other Smritis, Smritis means the works composed by Rishis. So the Paurushaya works are called Smritis. Shruti is Apaurushaya and Smritis are Apaurushaya. So all the other Puranas, etc., which are conducive to the development of the, or what is called gaining the knowledge of Brahmajnana, is Smriti Prasthana. So we have Shruti Prasthana and Smriti Prasthana, and the third one is Nyaya Prasthana. What is Nyaya Prasthana? Nyaya means logic. Normally, Anyatra Sanchara Yogyanam Nyayanam, like that. That is a general conclusion which can be applied elsewhere, and then the conclusions can be drawn. Say, here we have to, study one thing. We have to take one reference here. Advaita is essentially revolving around the concept of Nirguna Brahman. So when the Nirguna Brahman is there, that is Advaitin subscribe to Nirguna concept. And how does Saguna concept or Saguna Brahmavada come here? How does they find a place here? Where does it appear? How does it appear? So how does the Saguna Brahmavada enter here? Especially the concept of Ishvara, the concept of God. Is not the Saguna Brahmavada and Nirguna Brahmavada contradicting each other? So Ishvara may be there, Ishvara may be required, but does it fit into, in the scheme of Advaita scheme of things, does it fit into, or is it not a forcible introduction? So how does Ishvara concept fit into Advaita concept or Advaita scheme of things? This doubt may arise definitely. How can Advaitins perform puja? What is the role and place of puja in the Advaita scheme of things? Like that. And for this, we have to take one question. That is the answer for that. How does Nirguna concept be presented? Say, Nirguna itself does not mean any. Say, for example, when you speak of language, Mahabhashyakara says in the concept of speaking, referring to the language, Chatushtayi Sabdanam Pravrittihi. A word can have any one of the four meanings. That is, it can have species, it can refer to the species of an object, or the characteristic of an object, or an action that is performed that is natural to that object, or it may be a name given to that object. Through any one of these four, an object can be referred to. But the Nirguna concept does not fit into any of these four. So that being the case, how can this Nirguna object be communicated by means of language? So if Brahman alone, who is going to present that Brahman? To whom he is going to present the Brahman? How that Brahman is going to be presented? Because it being the Nirgunam, it is beyond the presentation. So now what happens? In order to establish this Brahman, in order to present this Brahman, a certain methodology has to be presented, a certain methodology has to be adopted. So in order to adopt that particular methodology, the best methodology is, or how can Brahman be presented? Brahman is the only one object. There is no other object apart from Brahman. That's why it is called Advaita. So if Brahman is to be presented, then one has to say all the other objects that exist in this universe are not really existing. They don't have real ontological existence apart from Brahman. So this is how, by presenting, other objects do not have independent existence apart from Brahman, by proving that Brahman can be presented by means of Nirguna. And in order to present that, the relationship of cause and effect relationship has to be presented, and Brahman alone must be presented as the cause of, or the ultimate cause of, all the other objects. And Brahman being Nirguna, Brahman cannot be the cause of the whole world in its Nirguna aspect, and the Brahman becomes Saguna, or Maya Sabalam Brahma. In that characteristic, in that particular position, the Maya Sabalam Brahma, Brahman becomes the cause of the universe. So Brahma Sutra starts with this particular concept. Say the initial, it is called the Pratigya Sutra. What they want to do, that is called Athato Brahma Jignasa. Afterwards, immediately the definition of Brahman, while defining Brahman, Janmadhyasya Yataha. Asya, that is the Paridrishyamanasya Jagataha. The world which we are experiencing, which we are seeing, is Yataha, from which Janmadi. The Srishti, Sthiti and Samhara of this world, where from it comes. So, this Brahman, that is the Saguna Brahman or the Maya Sabalam Brahman, is presented as the cause, and not only as the just material cause, Abhinna Nimitta Upadanam. It is simultaneously material cause of this universe. Material cause means you have clay, from the clay part comes. So the clay is the material cause for the part. So as the clay is the material cause of the part, for the universe also, the material cause is Brahman. How, etc., we will see it later. And Nimitta Karanam. Nimitta Karanam means the conscious agent who makes it. So Brahman is simultaneously Nimitta Karana and Upadhana Karana. And in this respect, Abhinna Nimittopadana, Brahman becomes the cause. Now comes the question of the relationship between cause and effect. How is cause related to the effect? What is the relationship? This sort of relationship is taken up by almost all the philosophers. Each one has got certain theory. For example, let us take Nayayika. If you take Nayayika, he speaks Avayavatirikta Avayavi. That is, Avayava means limbs, Avayavi means the whole. When the limbs join together and when whole is produced, the whole is totally different from the limbs. That is absolutely different. He says Avayava Atirikta Avayavi. That is, the Karya is different from the Karana. Karana goes into the limbs and the Karya is the whole. It is the effect relationship. So now this sort of what is called Avayavatirikta Avayavi relationship is there in the case of Nayayika, and the Buddhists say the Karana is Asat, that is the non-existent Shunya, from which the Karya comes. And then of course Sankhya will speak of Parinamavada. It is the manifestation of the effect which is there inside the cause. In this way, each one has got certain particular theory of the relationship of the cause, and now this cause and effect relationship has to be decided. Every philosopher has to, when he is going into the ultimate, the final thing, then he has to decide what is the relationship between this particular relationship between the cause and effect. So Brahman, as a what is called associated with Maya or Maya Sabalam Brahma, that becomes the cause of the universe. There Maya becomes Parinam Upadana and Brahman is called Vivartopadana. So this Maya Sabalam Brahma, Brahma is Suddha Sattva Pradhana. Since Brahman is the Suddha Sattva Pradhana, what happens? The Ishvara can be Saguna, Sarveswara, Sarvasakta, with all the auspicious qualities and characteristics attributed him, that he becomes Ishvara. And not only he is Ishvara, that is mere having got all the characteristics, he has got this particular characteristic too. Namely, that is Maya has got two powers, Avarana and Vikshepa. Avarana means concealing power or wheeling power. Vikshepa means projecting power. To explain it, when we mistake a rope for a serpent, initially rope must not be seen. Rope should not be seen as a rope. It can be seen as something existing there, but not clearly seen as rope. So this sort of a particular characteristic, namely rope not seen as rope, that is, rope is being concealed, that is called Avarana, and then on it the projection of serpent is there. So the projection of serpent is called Vikshepa, and the rope not being seen as rope is called Avarana. So Avarana and Vikshepa, these two aspects are there when we get some projection on something else. But ordinary people have got both Avarana and Vikshepa. In the case of Jnanis and in the case of Ishvara, the Avarana is not there. That is their substratum, their underlying soul is not concealed to them. They see the outside world, but nothing is concealed. So Ishvara has got the power of Nigraha Anugraha. That is, he can reward the people who are good, and also he can what is called give what is called parikshas, test, sodhane for those people who he wants to bring in a proper line. In this way, this particular Nigraha Anugraha Sakti, and this becomes Ishwara Pranidhana. Worshipping this Ishwara becomes Ishwara Pranidhana, and Ishwara Pranidhana gives Chitta Suddhi. From Chitta Suddhi, what is called Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, and from there, Sravana, Manina, Nididhyasana, and all these things are possible. Hence, this Ishwara has got a certain role, because only through Ishwara, Ishwara means not only through his grace, only through the presentation of Ishwara as the ultimate cause of this universe, we can proceed to Nirguna. Because Nirguna Brahman as such by itself is, as presented in Vedas, Etad Apramayam Dhruvam. Etad, this Brahman is Apramayam, Aprameyam. Aprameyam is Vedic usage. Aprameyam, it is not an object of knowledge. And in the Maitreyi Brahmana, Vijñātāramare Kana Vijayaniyat. How can the knower be known? Knower is beyond everything. And in the Kenopanishad, Yonas Tadveda Tadveda Nona Vedeti. He says, I know him, he does not know, because he is not an object of knowledge. And in the Gita also, Maya Tatamidam Sarvam, Jagadavyakta Murtina, Matstani Sarva Bhutani, and in the next verse, Nacha Matstani Bhutani. Whether the world exists in him or they don't exist in him, both of them are simultaneously presented. So, the Nirguna is known only through Saguna. But people who do not accept Nirguna, what happens? So, of course, here we have to see the relationship among the Darsanas. All the Darsanas, they are not going to contradict each other in 10%. Many of the aspects there may be common, but there are some main important aspects in which they differ. They are called Pradhana Pratitandra. And in that Pradhana Pratitandra, they are developed and presented. So now, when the Vedanta used to be presented, these concepts are to be taken, and the Pradhana Pratitandra, whether the Vedic sentences present in this particular aspect, that is, the aspect which is conducive and convenient to the realization of Brahman, or some other aspect, how does it present? Like that, that becomes the main important thing that has to be presented. Hence, the Vedanta Sutra, it is variously called Sariraka Mimamsa Sutra, Adhyatmika Sutra, like that it is called variously. And such important statements or sentences which other people may be interpreting in different ways, not conducive to Advaiti concept, such statements are taken, and those statements are presented for discussion. And this discussion is called the Adhikarana discussion. Adhikarana normally means court. So in this discussion, what happens? They take a particular statement. That is, Vyasa or Badarayana Vyasa, he just feels the statement, a statement of a Upanishadic statement, which he thinks is, which has been interpreted in his period by different people differently, or which he feels that is susceptible to difference. Because all the books, Vyasa has quoted number of people in his work, and he has quoted them number of times also. For example, Jaimini, Vadari, and then Audulomi, Kasakritsana, like that, different peoples are there. These people, in fact, Kasakrishna is also a Mimamsaka, and his Mimamsa also has been quoted, has been studied, popularly studied by Mahabhashyakara too. So these were all the popular subjects at the time. Vedanta also has been studied well. So many people have written differently. In fact, Professor Belwalkar opines there are different Brahma Sutras like that. Here, just as we have got what is called grammatical sutras like Pratisakya, for each Veda or each Upanishad, there must have been a Brahma Sutra explaining the meanings of those Upanishads. But we have got now only the one Brahma Sutra. I mean, it is his opinion, but we have got only one Brahma Sutra of Vyasa. And in this Brahma Sutra, we find various statements from various Upanishads being taken up for discussion, and the conclusions arrived at. So this Brahma Sutra has got 4 chapters, Adhyayas. So the first Adhyaya is called Samanvayadhyaya. Samanvayadhyaya means the Adhyaya of harmony, where the Upanishadic ideas the central purport of the Upanishads are presented as Brahman, Nirguna Brahman. And wherever there is a difference, where Saguna Brahman, etc., is presented, the Saguna Brahman is presented as conducive to the realization or helping paving the way for the realization of Nirguna Brahman in this way. So it is called in this way, each passage is taken up and what is its meaning like that. So it has got different, say for example, it is classified into 4 padas. First adhyaya. Each adhyaya is subdivided into 4 padas, 4 quarters, and the adhyayas take different methodology. Say for example, where sentences are important, where sentences have clear-cut notions, where sentences don't have clear-cut ideas leading to this particular meaning, where the words where words are ambiguous or words have got some doubts, and where the meaning of the words are to be discussed like that. So Spashta Brahmalinga Pada, Aspashta Brahmalinga Pada, like that. This is how it is classified. So the 4 padas are taken up in this particular way. And now Shankara himself states clearly, that is regarding the Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman. Kim Dve Brahmani? Say you are Nirguna Brahmavadin and you speak only one Brahman, only one thing is there. You speak Brahman as ultimate, but you say that there is only one thing. But now you are speaking of Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. Do you mean to say that there are 2 Brahmans? Kim Dve Brahmani? Are there 2 Brahmans? Shankara says, Badham. Yes, Dve Eva Brahmani. There are 2 Brahmans. There is no doubt about it. There are 2 Brahmans. And he says that Saguna Brahman is Sadhaka Anugrahartam. It is to bless the sadhakas and to lead them and to guide them. That there, but by acceptance of these 2 Brahman, in no way that compromises the concept of Advaita. Because one is Paramarthika and another one is Vyavaharika. So absolutely there is no compromise. So we are not afraid of saying that there are 2 Brahmans, etc. So in the Samanvayadhyaya, this proceeds like this. And the 3rd and 4th Adhyaya are Sadhana. Sadhana means what is called how to develop how to cultivate or how to culture oneself and then make him fit to realize that particular knowledge. And the Paladhyaya, what is the goal of this particular jnana? That is when one reaches Saguna Brahman or when one has to get jnana here. So these are discussed. And the second one is called Avirodha. Avirodha means non-contradiction. What is the non-contradiction here? Because many people have proposed different ideas, contradictory ideas. That is, the world is Satya, the other things are Satya. So there cannot be Mithyatva at all. If Brahman were to be conscious and Satya, everything else, the effect also must be Satya, because anything coming from Satya must also be Satya. It cannot be Mithya like that. They are proposing different ideas. So now, what is the importance or how far they can be accepted, etc. These are some of the doubts that may arise. So in order to discuss these things, the second adhyaya, that is comparing different, that is analyzing and studying the knowledge from other systems and coming to a conclusion and how far they are related. In this way it is taken up, and this is taken up in the form of adhikarana. Adhikarana is just now quote. So each Upanishadic statement is taken, that is whatever Vyasa considers as ambiguous or things needs elaboration. He takes up such statements, and those statements are, first of all, it is not only those statements, it is called Vishaya Vakya. The statements must have ambiguity. It is called Samshaya Bija, the seeds of doubt. Why there is a doubt? Just like that, a statement, it is not a dictionary where we can get the meaning of a statement, etc. So, if a sentence has to be discussed or analyzed, there must be scope for discussion. There must be some reasons giving rise to doubt. So, the reasons must be stated. It is called Samshaya Bija. And then that is Vishaya, that is the doubt. The doubts have to be clearly stated. What are the possible doubts? Why these doubts are given rise to? And then, of course, Purvapaksha. Purvapaksha is the opinions of other people and the reasons thereof. And Siddhanta. Siddhanta is the conclusion. And how this conclusion is arrived at, how the reasons given by the Purvapakshins are rejected. And then there are 2 more things. Sangati and Prayojana. Sangati means relation. How this particular topic fits into that particular context. Say, for example, if a particular topic is taken into second pada of the second adhyaya, how does it fit into the second pada and the second adhyaya, and how does it is what is called continuous, it proceeds from the previous topic. There should be relationship between previous topic and this topic, and in the particular quarter, that is the pada, and in the particular adhyaya. Everything has to be stated properly. That is adhyaya sangati, pada sangati, adhikarana sangati. All the three are to be given. Of course, that will generally fit in. And then prayojana. Prayojana means the operative portion. When the discussion is completed and when the conclusion is arrived at, how the conclusion is going to what is called make a change in our life. That is what we should do, what we should follow, what sort of change should be there, like that. Now let us go into second chapter. That is the Arambana Adhikarana is in the first quarter of the second Adhyaya. The first Adhyaya has discussed the Samanvaya Adhyaya, that is harmonization. That is all the meanings, all the Vedic statements have got harmoniously what is called the end in, or harmoniously what is called they go to proving Nirguna Brahman. That is the idea of the first. And the second, there is no contradiction. That is, even if you find some statements to a different effect in Manusmriti, etc., what should be the exact meaning, what should be the contextual meaning, like that. So discussing those things. So first it proceeds with some smritis which do not follow Shruti, which seem to, in the Advaitic opinion, those Shrutis which do not follow Shruti, where there seems to be, it is as if in the Mimamsa Jaimini Sutras, that is Smriti Adhikarana. It is called Smriti Adhikarana. That means where there is a Smriti Virodha. When there is a contradiction between Shruti and Smriti, what should we do? What should be followed? So here also Smriti and Shruti. That is, here the discussion is, should we interpret Shruti in consonance with Smriti, or should the Smriti be interpreted in consonance with Shruti? And then the result is always Shruti must be given precedence and Smriti should be discussed in consonance with that. And then Yoga, next Adhikarana comes as Yoga Adhikarana. It is called Yoga Pratyukta Adhikarana. In that Yoga Pratyukta Adhikarana, the discussion is, yoga has been quoted by many people approvingly. What is the place of yoga? That is the situation. And they say wherever there is no contradiction, wherever both of them seem to agree, there yoga can be accepted. Wherever there is a duality, etc., that is yoga is an independent one in that respect. And then the third Adhikarana is Vilakshanatva Adhikarana. Here Shruti and Smriti have been given importance. And then why not we take logic as the important thing? Because Nayayika essentially says, for example, he gives importance to logic. Bhu Bhudaradikam Sakartrikam Karyatvat Gatavate, like that. He proceeds with what is called logic. So why not logic be given importance to? Why should be? That is, let Veda, etc., support this logic. Why not be logic also be given? It is called the Vilakshanatva Adhikarana, where logic is given important. And the next one is Sishta Parigraha. That is, logic cannot be given importance, because if logic is given an importance, logic can never have a conclusive view, conclusive way, because all logic is based on today's data, and tomorrow the data may develop further. So there is no apratishthita, tarka pratishthanat. Tarka cannot become a conclusive evidence, because it is always growing and developing. So in this case of Vedanta, etc., Tarka is not of much use. It can only help us to understand Vedanta, but it cannot what is called independent pramana to prove Vedantic ideas. And then Sishta Aparigraha, and about the ideas about the concepts which have not been resorted to by, or which have not been developed or explained by people like Manu. And then comes, if it is so, Bhoktrapati Adhikarana, one doubt is raised. If Jiva and Brahman were to be one and the same, then what happens? Brahman is Nitya. Simply, I am just putting only one important point. Brahman is Nitya and Jiva is not Anitya. Jiva is Baddha. So how can this Nitya and Baddha concepts can be one and the same. How can they be taken together? How can they be one and the same? If they were to be taken one and the same, the one of the objections raised by the Purvapakshini is the Karmakanda portions which speak of Vidhi Nisheda, that is prescriptions and proscriptions, they may become useless. So the Jiva and Brahman should be considered to be two different things. See, this can easily be answered, and in all the entire first Adhyaya, the answer is given. And that being the case, why should this Adhikarana be taken further? Why should this Adhikarana, this particular idea be brought in here? The answer given by Shankara is, that is for discussion of this idea, he answers it from the Veda philosophy standpoint. He does not answer it from Advaitic standpoint or anything. He answers it from Veda standpoint. So in the Veda standpoint, he says, as ocean is there and the waves are different, but waves appear to be different than ocean, but we cannot consider them to be entirely different. We cannot consider them to be identical also, because waves are not ocean and there is a difference. But since there is a difference, we cannot say they are totally different, because without ocean there won't be any waves at all. So it is there for appearance. In that particular angle, he explained it. That's why that sutra says Bhoktra Pattescha Avibhagat. Because if Brahman were to be the Bhokta, if Brahman were to be taken as the enjoyer, that is as the Jiva, then the division like Brahman and Jiva will not be there because of the opposition I said. And then the answer is Syat, Lokavat, as it can happen, as it happens in the world. That is like in the waves and ocean, etc. It can be presented in such a fashion. So this can be taken. Now, in order to reject this Veda-Vedavada, because in the Veda-Vedavada, even though in the Srishti level everything is considered to be different, and in the Moksha level some identity is proposed, then that is being rejected in the next Arambhanadhikarana. So what happens, if this Veda-Vedavada is accepted, the answer will be through Jnana, the Moksha, that is Jiva realizing Brahman is through Jnana, and the Jnana can remove only something Ajnana. Yato Jnanam Ajnana Saiva Nivartakam. Jnana can remove only Ajnana, and Jnana cannot remove actually something that is Satya, that is true. A true object cannot be removed by Jnana, cannot be, destroyed by Jnana. Jnana can remove only Ajnana. And if the, what is called the Veda is not an Ajnana, if Veda is not a Mithya, then Jnana does not play any role. That can be removed only by Karma, Bhakti, etc. And the Veda does not speak of those roles. And since Veda speaks of Jnana only, this particular thing will not be applied. And then he comes, next one. This question is, next question, that is, it is called Akshepa Sangati, and that is Prasanga Sangati, that is contextually. If Jiva and Brahman were to be, let Jiva and Brahman to be one. Let them be one and the same. Let them be identical, or let them be same. Let there be no difference, whatever it may be. But how does Prapancha, that is the universe is insentient, universe is a Jada object, and Brahman is a conscious thing. How should Prapancha be one with Brahman? Why not there be difference between Brahman and Prapancha? That's a question. So let Brahman and Prapancha be different. If Brahman and Prapancha were to be different, then the problem will be the Advaita or the non-duality of Brahman will not be established. If the non-duality of the Brahman were to be established, Brahman and everything other than Brahman, including Jiva and Prapancha, must be identical with or must be non-different with Brahman. So there should be only one Brahman, and there should be Brahman alone, and everything other than Brahman, including Prapancha and Jiva, cannot be an independent and differently existing object. So the non-difference of Prapancha has to be established. So in order to establish the non-difference of the Prapancha, next Adhikarana, that is Tadananyatva Adhikarana, that is being taken up. What is the Vishaya Vakya of Tadananyatva Adhikarana? What is the context of Tadananyatva Adhikarana? the Tadananityadikarana has got the 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. It is called Sadvidya. The famous statement. The Shvetaketu, he is the disciple. He has been sent to the Gurukula and he returns from the Gurukula. When he returns from Gurukula, he returns an arrogant man, puffed with pride. And the father thinks the result of the study, Vidya Dadati Vinayam, it must be, that is, knowledge, the study should give the feeling that there is a lot of things to be learned. I have not learned much, all that's had to be learned. What I have learned is Katradhi Kaiman, like that. So that should be there, it is not there in him. But he is a good student, he has studied everything well, and whatever question that can be posed, he will definitely answer. There won't be any problem at all. So father asks him a special question. Did you learn? Hey, when I see your face and when I see the luster in your face, it seems that you have learned something by learning which everything will be learned in this world. Nothing else to be learned. It is called Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnana, by knowing which everything else can be known. Definitely he knows there is no such thing in this world, by knowing which, or if at all he has not learnt it. And then he asks, is there any such thing? Then father says, yeah, ekena, that is, he says, that is, yatha somya ekena mritpindena sarvam mrinmayam vijnatam syat vacharammanam vikaro namadheyam mritiketyeva satyam. This is the famous statement. Yatha somya, somya is differently, normally we say, oh goodbye, but it is also said, one who is fit to perform somayaga, somya. Somya, ekena mritpindena, by one lump of clay, sarvam mrinmayam vijnatam syat, all objects of clay are become as good as known. So vacharambanam vikaraha namadheyam mritiketyeva satyam. Vacharambanam, arambanam, ralayora bedaha. So vacharambanam means vagalambanam. All the effects, they exist in name, they cling to the name. Vacharambanam, vikaraha, vikaraha, effect. All effects cling to the name, they exist only in name only. Namade mritiketyeva satyam. The truth is only mritika. The truth is mritika only, that is the clay only. So if you take pot, etc., normally we give this example. Suppose a person gives to the goldsmith some gold to prepare some ornament, but even though he has prepared the ornament to the required design, he was not satisfied with the finish, and he says, you take the ornament and give back the gold to me. Can the ornament exist without the gold? So it is only the gold is now available in the shape of an ornament. Gold does not have anything special. It is available in the name of an ornament or in the shape of the ornament. So ornament is only name and form. This is what the famous statement, name and form, nama rupa. But in essence, in reality, the cause, the gold, that forms the substance of the object. So mritika, the truth is, in the case of clay, etc., the truth is only mritika. So the existence of karya is nothing else, nothing apart from effect. Then of course the student says, Shvetaketu says, perhaps my teachers may not know it. If they had known it, how come they would not have taught me? And how is it applicable to the world? Then father starts, Sadeva Somi idamagrasit. Somya, Mubai, Agre, before creation. Agre means Srishtef Prak. Before creation, whatever we see, all these things were Sat Asit. They were only in the form of Sat. It was Sat alone was there. He starts and goes on explaining. But here it explains, this particular father explains that Agni, the creation of Agni from Sat, from Agni comes up, from up comes Annam. He does not say the word Prithvi, Teja, etc. He says Agni, up, and Annam. These three come because these three have got form. And since they have form, he is explaining it to Sun. So they have a form. What are the causes and what are the effects that are coming, etc. All transformation can be seen. So in the physically seeable, visible thing, he is presenting the creation, the srishti of these three. That's being presented. And then how it happens. all the they are what is called only when something is created, the karya remains, and when the karya aspect is removed, apaga agner agnitvam, when it is removed, what remains is the cause only. So trini rupani. So the rupas are presented sattva, rajas, tamas, and they are presented in the form of black, and then what is called the red, and then white. So all those forms are gone, and what remains is only sattva. In this way, he's tried to explain everything, and while explaining it, the arambana sabdadibhyaha. Arambana, the word vacharambanam, that is the word important word arambanam. Arambanam means alambanam, and the alambanam is the source or the base for all the effects, and adi. The adi refers to the all the words that refers to Brahman as the cause or source of the world. Aidadatmyam idam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi. Because that particular context goes and ends there. Aidadatmyam idam satyam tat satyam sa atma. Everything, whatever we see, aidadatmyam has got this particular thing alone as its atma. That is the sat. Aidadatmyam means that refers to idam. Idam refers to sat. Sat alone as having sat as their soul. Aidadatmyam. Idam sarvam. Whatever we see, the effect, they have come from sat. Tat satyam. That alone is sat. Aidadatmyam idam sarvam tat satyam. And that is the atma. Tattvamasi, and the word that. You are that in this way. And the other statements also, other Upanishadic statement also, that is neha nanasti kinchana in Brihadaranyaka. That is other karya effects are do not exist independently apart from this particular thing. In this way it is presented. So this is the basic statement given in the Chandogya Upanishad. It is a long passage. I have given the essential crux, the basic idea presented in the Chandogya, and that is being taken up here for discussion. On that basis of that particular passage, this particular Adhikarana idea is developed, and it is developed to say how the world cannot be different from Brahman. This is how. So why Veda cannot be there? So if Veda were to be, that is as presented in the previous Adhikarana, if Veda were to be presented, so what happens? Ekena amsena mokshaha, nanatva amsena karma, and that is karma and all those things. This will be a contradiction, not only contradiction, because vrittike tyeva satyam. This is what the word. Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam vrittike tyeva satyam. Vrittika iti eva. That is the clay alone is truth. Clay alone is the truth. The alone precludes eva. We can just have the meaning of eva. That is Anyayoga Vyavacheda and Ayoga Vyavacheda and all those things. All the three Vyavachedas will be applicable. Apart from Mritika, there is nothing else is there. So, since apart from Mritika, nothing else is there in the case of, in the context of Ghata, Sarava, etc. So, if you take it in the world, apart from Sat, nothing else is there. So, since nothing else is there, this Avadharana alone is there, Avadharana Sat alone is there, that means all the Vikaras, that is Agni, Up and Anna, all the Vikaras are there, Vacharambana, and they don't exist really. They are not actually having any existence because the causal aspect alone is available in the effect, and the effect does not exist independently apart from the cause. So what happens in the case of the world also? So this is how it is presented. So Vacharambanam is used. Since Vacharambanam, this particular idea is used in the Upanishad, the Arambana Sabda and the Eva Sabda used along with Mritika go to prove non-existence, non-independent existence of the effects apart from the cause. That being the case, the Prapancha cannot be different from Brahman. Prapancha cannot have an independent existence apart from the Brahman's existence. The Brahman's existence alone is passed on to the Prapancha, and the Prapancha's existence is derived existence. And if the Prapancha were to be Satya, the objects will be different. Nana, that is multiple. If the objects are multiple, and they must be having multiple sources for as their source. And if they have multiple source, the Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnana Pratigya will not be there. Only one source is there. By knowing that single source or the single cause, every object and every effect will be known, would be as good as known. But if the objects are different and the sources are different, the Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnana Pratigya will not be applicable. And in this way, but previously one question has been asked. If Ekatva were to be true, that is, if Brahman were to be alone, were to be true, then if Jivas are not true, what about the Vidhi and Pratisheda, prescriptions and prescriptions given in Veda? They will become meaningless, because Veda must be true. Veda is a Pramana. The Vidhi Nisheda also must be Pramana. So if Vidhi Nisheda are to be Pramana, they must be true. They cannot be Mithya. But the answer is, as it is normally said, yes, it can be Pramana in the Vyavaharika level. It need not be a Pramana in the Paramarthika level. So, just because something is not Pramana in a Paramarthika level, that need not be accepted. Then another reason is adduced. Bhavecha Upalabdehe. Next sutra. Tadananitvam Arambana Sabdadibhya is the first sutra. And the next sutra is Bhavecha Upalabdehe. That is, only when the Karana is there, Karya is realized. Say, for example, if mud is there, if the clay is there, then part is there. If clay is not there, part is not there. We cannot say like that. Sorry, we can say only in that particular fashion. That is, part is always coeval with clay. So, Karana is always, Karana must be existing, it must be pervading the effect. So, the effect cannot exist without a Karana, and Brahman being the Karana, it must pervade the effect. And then Sattvacha Avarasya. Not only that, the Karana should precede the effect. Brahman precedes as Sat. As Sat, Brahman precedes. So Brahman alone can be there. So the effect must not be existing at the time. And there one comes Asad Vyapadesad iti chet. Actually, in the Upanishadic contents, Sadeva Somi Idamagra Asid, Asadeva Somi Idamagra Asid also is a line. Then Upanishad speaks of Asat also. What to speak when the Asat is there? How can you say Sat alone is there? Asat also was there. So why not Buddhist concept of Asat being the cause of this world not to be accepted? The Asat does not mean, because Sat and Asat, they cannot be one and the same. It cannot be what is called a contradictory statement. Cannot, I mean, a Pramana Grantha like Upanishads cannot be interpreted in a contradictory way like this. There Asat means Avyakrita Nama Rupa. That is, before the manifestation, the effect remaining in Avyakrita Nama Rupa. And not only that, say for example, when we need a particular effect, we go for a particular cause. Say for example, when the curd is required, we go for milk. When the coconut oil is required, we go for copra, like that. So every effect has got a particular cause. If the relation is not there between cause and effect, there can be a sort of what is called confusion. Anything can come from anything. So it is not there, such a thing is not experienced in this world. So this sort of thing cannot be possible. So all these things go to prove that there is a definite cause and effect relationship in this world. There is no confusion between cause and effect relationship, and the effect also exists always in the cause. Since the effect exists in the cause, it exists as Ananya. Ananya does not mean identity. Ananya means not different. So actually in Bhamati the statement is Nahi abhedamiti aikyam brumaha kintu bedham vyasaidamaha. Bhamatikara says, when we say abheda, we do not say two things identical. The two things are not different. So when you say Brahman is identical with the world, we say the world is not different from Brahman. That is the particular important, and that is proved by this one, Tad Ananyatvam. That's why Tad Aikyam. The Sutrakara does not say both of them are one and the same. Sutrakara says Tad Ananyatvam. It is not different from the source, namely Brahman. And in this way, not only Jiva is not different from Brahman, the world also is not different from Brahman. And Brahman alone is the only non-dual object available. And that establishes the Nirgunatva of the particular concept, Nirgunatva of Brahman, and everything else as the effect of this world. So this Adhikarana also goes to prove that the Advaita, and there are some three Adhikaranas are considered to be very important. Sastra Drishtya Upadesho Vamadevavat, and Tadananyatvam Arambana Sabdadibhyaha, and Maya Matram, Karsnayana Anabhivyakta. These are considered to be pro-Advaitika. Even though other Adhikaranas are there, these Adhikaranas, even within Advaita fold, these, of course, there are a few other Adhikaranas they are explaining. For example, that Tadguna Saratvat, in that particular Tadguna Saratva Adhikarana, the concept of Maya is explained. So these Adhikaranas, they directly speak of Advaita and the importance of non-duality and all those things. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you, sir. I now request our director, Dr. Madam, say a few words.
Hello.
Sugama.
First of all, I would like to thank Professor Srinivasan for a brilliant lecture. Of course, he started by saying it is for the removal of pain or suffering. So all the schools say the same thing, like Apavarga, or in Sankhya also, and Yoga also says the same thing. Patanjali says, Heyam Dukkham Anagatam, and he says the means, not like the Vedanta. He says Ashtanga Yoga. He prescribes Ashtanga Yoga as the means for removal of the dukkha yet to come. And then some of these things I noted, but I have one or two questions to Professor Srinivasan. Okay. Shall I go ahead, sir? Sir, I will restrict to only one or two questions. One of the statements made by you is, clay alone, mritika eva, is the cause. But can mritika alone produce the pot? Does it not require the other ingredients as well as the incidental cause like the wheel, the kulala, and other things?
True, but when we refer to part, we refer to it as Mridgataha, Suvarnam Kundalam, like that. The Upadhana Karana alone is referred to as part and parcel of the object, and the Sadharana Karana, Nimitta Karana, Asamavai Karana, etc. are not seen in the object. So when you see the effect, you see it with the effect, with the cause. That cause is Mritika. And
Then,
between these two,
sorry.
that's what that is taken. Between these two, that is Mritika and Gata. Say now the point is, I have stated, the Nayayika says the cause and effect. There are four theories, fundamental theories. Cause and effect are two different things. And cause and effect are Satya, truth. And if they are truth, if they are two different things, can they have such an independent existence? What is the truth there? That is a question there. And in that question, the clay alone can be the truth, and the pot cannot be an independent there. So, Mritika Ityeva. Say the question is, in the Chandogya Upanishad, the word is Mritika Ityeva. Eva is used in Chandogya Upanishad. It is not, say, Upanishad is Apaurushaya. Eva is used there. So, what can be the significance of Eva? That we are presenting. That Advaitin is presented. The significance of Eva is the material cause alone can be there, nothing else. But, sorry, the truth of the effect must be material cause.
So if we say that the cause is seen mainly in the effect, but we don't see, if the world is the effect, we don't see the cause, namely the Brahman.
Yes, we see. What is Brahman? Brahman is not an object like clay. Brahman is essentially Asti Bhati Priyam. The Satyam Jnanam Anantam. The existence, knowledge, bliss aspect. So, in every object in this world, the existence and knowledge aspects are seen. Because if the knowledge object aspect is not there, we will not be knowing the object at all. If the object were to be known, the knowledge aspect must be present and the aspect must be existing. So the existence aspect, knowledge aspect, which is present in each and every object, makes the Brahman as the underlying fundamental cause. Say, for example, we say the serpent is seen on the rope. Serpent is. But the serpent is not really there, we know, because Satchenna Badhyata, Asatchenna Pratiyata. If the real serpent were to be there, it should not what is called immediately when the light is there, it should be able to raise its hood and then it will hiss. But the serpent is not really there. And if it were not to be there, it should not present. We get a direct knowledge. So we should not be having Bhayakampadi, etc. So Satchenna Badhyata, Asatchenna Pratiyata. That's why we say Sadasat Vilakshanam. It cannot be defined as Sat, nor can it be defined as Asat. So it is different from Sat and different from Asat. But while we get the experience, we don't see I am seeing a rope and then I am mistaking a serpent. I see a serpent. So what do we say? Serpent is. But the serpent, let it be whatever may be the nature of the object of serpent. But the ease comes from the rope. The rope is. The ease of the rope is getting transformed or it is getting transferred to the serpent and then serpent appears as ease. So ease is the fundamental existence of the underlying object. And the underlying object of all the whole world is Brahman. So Brahman is the cause. So when we say San Gataha, the Sat is the Brahman aspect which is manifesting in the Gata aspect.
Okay, one more question about the source, about the Karana. You said about the multiple sources. That is, if there is the cause.
I said it with if plus.
Pardon?
I said it with if plus.
Okay. If the source is the same or Karana is the same, can it be said there won't be any differences in the effect?
No, it is with Eka Vijnana Sarva Vijnana. So it is an argument for that particular point. It does not mean whether the source is same or etc. If the object Eka Vijnana Upanishad says, by knowing the one, everything else will become as good as known. And if all the objects were to have only one cause, then knowing the cause, every object will be on the lines of Pratikatyeva Satyam. Knowing the one, everything else would be known, as good as known. But if there is a multiplicity, and if there is a multiplicity of sources, knowing one, you would not be knowing everything else. Maybe you can know the objects of same species, but not of different species.
Because the commonly what we say is Loko Binna Ruchihi, and also everyone has got different experiences, therefore there should be multiplicity of objects.
Yes, definitely. That's why Bhoktarapatti Adhikarana, multiplicity of objects, etc. We have to transcend that. That is the worldly experience, Pratyaksha, Atattva Vedaka. So we have to go to Upanishad, Tattva Vedaka and transcend it.
And one more about the Karana pervading the Karya. Is it applicable in every case?
You can enlighten me on the case which does not pervade.
See, for example, we say the wind is the cause for the movement of the tree. Okay.
Yes.
Can we say that the trees are the what do you call the branches and everything? They are always pervaded by the Kara.
Definitely. But I'm just saying it is pervaded, but the first aspect, which is the cause for the what is called movement of the tree, I'm not accepting the word cause, because the cause is a different causes are there. There is not only one cause. As Nayayika say, Upadana Karana, Nimitta Karana, Sadharana Karana, Samavai Karana, like that. But when we say the cause, it is not Upadana Karana. When we say that pervades, it is Upadana Karana.
but we cannot perceive it. That's what we mean.
Every karana, say for example, when Upanishad says the whole world has come, tasmad vai tasmad atmana akasa sambhutaha,
Yes.
from the atmana akasa has come, from akasad vayuhu vayor agnihi. All these things are tanmatras. So even tanmatra we can't perceive, leave alone akasa and vayu. Even agni
Correct.
tanmatra, ap tanmatra we can't perceive.
Correct. Correct.
So not that always we can perceive. Whatever we can see, that alone is possible.
Is there room for one question from me, Dr. Srinivasan?
Definitely I don't mind.
எனக்கு சந்தேகம் என்னன்னா இப்போ உபனிஷத்ஸ் give room for both சகுண and நிர்குண பிரம்ம.
ஒரு நிமிஷம் கொஞ்சம் சத்தமா பேசணும்னா.
உபனிஷத்துல சகுண பிரம்மனுக்கும் நிர்குண பிரம்மனுக்கும் ரெண்டுக்குமே அவகாசம் இருக்கு. பிகாஸ் சகுண உபாசனைக்கு நிறைய உபாசனைகள் சொல்றது. சாந்தோக உபனிஷத்தே நிறைய உபாசனைகள்லாம் சொல்றது. இப்போ am I to understand that saguna upasana by itself cannot lead to moksha? At best it can only reveal that you have to go to nirguna upasana before you can reach moksha. அப்படிங்கறத அத்வைத்தின்ஸோட
Standpoint.
இல்ல.
எனக்கு என்ன சந்தேகம்னா, இப்போ நிறைய பேர் உபனிஷத்துலயே நிறைய இடங்கள்ல சொல்லியிருக்கா உபாசனை, ஆகாஷ உபாசனை ஃபார் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் சொல்லியிருக்கா, நிறைய உபாசனைகள் சொல்லியிருக்கா, உபனிஷத்துலயே சொல்றேன். இஃப் யூ டேக் தட் ஆஸ் ஆல்சோ ரூட் ஃபார் பிரம்மஜானா, then sagunopasanaye porme, saguna brahmopasanaye porme. You need not go to nirguna upasana. You can keep it as another path, not necessarily the next sopanam, next padi. என்னோட சந்தேகம் புரியுறதா உங்களுக்கு?
நிச்சயமா புரியுறது. அந்த மாதிரி இல்ல. உபனிஷத்துல சகுண உபாசனைகள், அதாவது நீங்க கொஞ்சம் இந்த இடத்துல மாத்தி புரிஞ்சுட்டு சகுண பிரம்ம உபாசனை நிர்குண பிரம்ம உபாசனைங்கிறது இல்ல. நிர்குண பிரம்ம ஞானம், நிர்குண பிரம்ம உபாசனை கிடையாது. சகுண பிரம்ம உபாசனை
ஒரே ஒரு ஸ்மால் இது நான் எந்த அர்த்தத்துல அது சொன்னேன்னாக்க, இப்போ சன்னியாசிகள்லாம் இருக்காளே, அவ ஓங்கார உபாசனை பண்றா. அவ இந்த ஓங்கார உபாசனைய நிர்குண உபாசனைங்கிற ரீதியில பண்றாத. அதனால நான் அந்த மாதிரி சொன்னேன். இப்போ ஓங்கார உபாசனையே சொல்லியிருக்கு உபனிஷத்துலயும், அதுக்காக சொல்றேன்.
உபனிஷத்துல நிர்குண உபாசனைன்னு சொல்லல.
சரி, ரைட்.
பிரஷ்னோபனிஷத்துல மட்டும்தான் ஒரே ஒரு இடத்துல 3வது கேள்வியில நிர்குண உபாசனையை பத்தி பேசுறது. பாக்கி எந்த இடங்கள்லயும் நிர்குண உபாசனைன்னு ஒண்ணு தனியா ரொம்ப சொல்லல. அது நிர்குண உபாசனைக்கு அகங்கிரக உபாசனைன்னு சொல்லுவார். நிர்குண உபாசனை மாதிரி அது. பட் எந்த உபாசனையா இருந்தாலும் உபாசனைங்கிறது பக்தி கர்மா அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு கீழே வந்ததுன்னாக்க அது ஞானத்தை காட்டிலும் வேறையா தான் இருக்கும். அதான் நனு ஞானம் நாம, அதாவது நனு அது என்ன சொல்றது, பக்திர் நாமே, அதாவது உபாசனம் நாம மானசீ கிரியா. ஆச்சாரியர்களே இதுல சதுசூத்திரியில சமன்வயாதிகரணத்துல இந்த விசேஷத்தை எடுத்துன்னு எழுதுறாரு. நனு உபாசனம் நாம மானசீ கிரியா. நீங்க எந்த உபாசனைன்னு சொன்னாலும் உபாசனைங்கிறது இட் இஸ் அன் ஆக்ஷன். இப்ப நீங்க அடுத்தது என்ன பண்ணணும்னா, ட்ரூ ஆக்ஷன் கேன் வி கெட் மோக்ஷா அப்படின்னு கேள்வி கேட்கணும். அந்த கேள்வியை கேட்டோம்னா யூ கேன் கெட் த்ரூ ஆக்ஷன், டெஃபினட்டா மோட்சம் கிடைக்கும். அத்வைத மோட்சம் கிடைக்காது, வேற ஏதாவது சித்தாந்தத்தினுடைய மோட்சங்கள் கிடைக்கலாம். அந்த மோட்சத்தை வாண்டான்னு கிண்டான்னு சொல்லுமா வேணுமாங்கிறதெல்லாம் அது அவாவ சௌரியம். ஸோ அத்வைத மோட்சம் போகணும்னாக்க நிர்குண ஞானத்தின் வழியா தான் வரும். சகுண உபாசனையினால வராதா அப்படின்னு கேட்டா வரலாம், வரக்கூடாதுங்கிறது இல்லை. சகுண உபாசனையின் மூலமா என்ன ஆகும்? கிரமமுக்தி. இந்த சகுண உபாசனையானது நம்மள நிர்குண ஞானத்துக்கு ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணணும். என்ன பண்ணணும்? உபாசனைங்கிறது என்ன ஆகும்? நான் எதை உபாசனை பண்றேனோ அந்த உபாசனை பண்ற வஸ்து எதுவா வேணா இருக்கட்டும், தியேய வஸ்து, அந்த தியேய வஸ்துவும் தியாதாவும் ரெண்டு இருக்கா இல்லையாங்க? தியான தியாத்திரு தியேய ரூபான்னு நம்ம சொன்னா கூட அந்த உபாசன காலம் வரைக்கும் தான் இருக்கே ஒழிய அதுக்கப்புறம் தியேயமே இல்லேன்னு ஆயிடுமா? இஸ் இட் தி ஆபிலிட்ரேஷன் ஆஃப் தியேயா? இஃப் தி தியாதா தட் டு ரிசல்ட் இன் தி ஆபிலிட்ரேஷன் ஆஃப் தியேயா may be possible. That can happen only through knowledge, not through action. This is Advaiti contention.
Okay, thank you.
Hello ji.
தேங்க்ஸ் சீனிவாசன்.
Hello. Am I audible? இப்போ தபஸ் தியானம்ல ஆக்ஷன். அப்ப ஆக்ஷன் மூலமா வரலன்னா தபசா பிரம்ம விஜிக்ஞாசஸ்வா தபோ பிரம்மேதி அப்படின்றது. அங்க தபசே பிரம்மன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கு.
ஓகே, இல்ல என்ன கேக்குறேன்றது.
ஆக்ஷன் மூலமா பிரம்மன் நாலேஜ் வராதுன்னா தபசே பிரம்மன் அப்படின்னா அது தபஸ்ன்றது ஆக்ஷன் எடுத்துட்டோம்னாக்க தபசே எப்படி
ஆக்ஷன் எடுத்துக்க கூடாது. தபஸ்ங்கிறது என்ன எடுத்தோம்னா அன்வய வத்திரேகாபியாம் சிந்தனம் தப உச்சியதே அப்படின்னு. ஏன்னா அந்த இடத்துல அவர் சும்மா தபஸ் பண்ணிட்டு அடுத்த நாலேஜ் வரல. தபஸ் பண்றதன் மூலமா யாரோ கொண்டு வந்து அவருக்கு வந்து அந்த அதாவது பிராணோ பிரம்மேதி வெஜானாத், பிராணஹா ந பிரம்ம, மனோ பிரம்மேதி வெஜானாத், மனஹா ந பிரம்மன்னு அந்த ஞானம் யாரோ அவருக்கு கொடுக்கல. அந்த தபஸ் யாரை நோக்கி பண்ணினாரோ, ஏன்னா இந்த பிராணோ பிரம்மேதி அந்த பிராணன் மனசுங்கிறது எல்லாமே வந்து ஜட வஸ்து. சோ அவர் என்ன பண்ணிருப்பார், அன்னம் பிரம்மேதி வெஜானாத், அன்னம் இல்லைன்னு பிராணனை தெரிஞ்சதா, பிராணன் பிரம்மன்னு தெரிஞ்சின்றதுனால அன்னம் பிரம்மம் இல்லைன்னு தெரிஞ்சுட்டார். அப்ப ரெண்டாவது தபஸ் பண்றதா இருந்தா பிராணனை நோக்கி பண்ணணும். ஆனா பிராணன் தான் பிரம்மன்னு ரிசல்ட்டா வருது. அப்ப யாரை நோக்கி தபஸ் பண்றாருன்னு சொல்றது, அந்த யாரை நோக்கி தபஸ் பண்ணாரோ அவர் இவருக்கு இந்த ஞானத்தை கொடுத்துட்டார் அப்படின்னு சொன்னோம்னா, அதாவது தெரிஞ்சுக்கோ எடுத்துக்கோ அப்படின்னு வந்து அவர் என்ன பண்ணணும், he blessed him அப்படின்னு சொல்லணும். அப்ப blessed himனு சொன்னோம்னா அது புண்ணியத்தினுடைய ரிசல்ட் ஆகும். புண்ணியத்தினுடைய ரிசல்ட் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா அது வந்து கர்மா, அந்த மோட்சம்ங்கிறது பர்மனண்டா இருக்க முடியாது. அதனால அந்த இடத்துல தபசுங்கிறது வந்து இவருடைய திங்கிங் ப்ராசஸ் தானே ஒழிய விசாரம், இவருடைய விசாரம் தானே ஒழிய அது ஆக்ஷன் இல்லை. இத பாஷ்யத்துல சுரேஸ்வராச்சாரியர்கள் அவருடைய தைத்திரிய வார்த்திகத்துல ஆச்சாரியர்களே பாஷ்யத்துல எல்லாம் வந்து மனசஸ்ட இந்திரியானாம்ச ஐகாகிரியம் தப உச்சியத்தேன்னு அதை வந்து கான்சென்ட்ரேட்டட் தாட், கான்சென்ட்ரேட்டட் என்கொயரி அப்படின்னு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க.
தியாகராஜன் பேசலாமா?
என்னன்னா
ஒரு சின்ன டவுட் கேக்குறதா?
கேக்குறது சொல்லுங்க.
இப்போ மந்திர சாஸ்திரத்திலாம் இப்ப அகங்கிருத உபாசனையை பத்தி கொஞ்சம் ஒரு வார்த்தை சொன்னதுனால
அப்பா சொல்லிட்டேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
இப்போ அல்ல அஜபா காயத்ரி, அஜபா காயத்ரி பண்ற போது எப்படி நம்ம வேதா அகம்பிரம்மாஸ்மியத்தான் இங்க அஜபா காயத்ரி மூலியமா நம்ம தியானம் பண்றோம். அப்போ தியான ரூபமாக அப்ப இந்த பரமத்தை அடையறதுக்கு வழி இருக்கா இல்லையா?
பரபிரம்மம்ங்கிறது மோட்சம்னு சொன்னோம்னா ஞானத்தை தவிர, அகம் பிரம்மாஸ்மிங்கிற ஞானத்தை தவிர எந்த வழியும் கிடையாது.
அதான் சொல்றேன், அந்த ஞானத்தை அடையறதுக்கு இந்த பாலு வாஸ் டெல்லிங் அபௌட் தபஸ், அந்த தபஸை வந்து நம்ம தியானமா எடுத்துக்கிறோம். தியானமா எடுத்துட்டு அத தியானமா வச்சுட்டு அஜபா காயத்ரி இருக்க அதான் அது பண்ற போது இது அந்த ஞானம் வராதா? ஞானத்தினால அந்த மோட்சம் சித்திக்காதா?
சித்திக்காது. ஞானம் வந்து பிரமாணத்தினாலதான் வரணும். அது பிரமாணத்தினாலதான் வரணுமே ஒழிய பிரமாணம் இல்லாம வேற ப்ராசஸ்னால வர முடியாது. பட் அந்த இடத்துல சின்ன மைனர் டிஃபரன்சஸ் இருக்கு. எல்லாத்தையும் ஃபுல்லா ஒரே லெக்சர்ல டீடைல்டா போக முடியாதுங்கிறதுக்காக நான் சொல்றேன். சிரவண மனன நிதித்தியாசனம்ங்கிறது இருக்கு இல்லையோ, சிரவணத்தின் மூலமா தான் நம்மளுக்கு சிரவணம்ங்கிறது தான் பிரமாணம். அந்த சிரவணம்ங்கிற பிரமாணம் வந்து வாத்தியார் தத்துவமசின்னு சொல்ல போறார், பையன் துண்ட உதறி தோல்ல போட்டு அகம் பிரம்மாஸ்மின்னு எழுந்து போனோம். அந்த மாதிரி போறதா இருந்தா பையனுக்கு பூர்ணமான இது இருக்கணும். அது பேர் என்ன, மனசனுடைய பக்குவம்னு சொல்றோம் இல்லையா, அந்த சாதன சதுஷ்டி சம்பத்தி எல்லாம் பூர்ணமா இருந்து அவன் உத்தமாதிகாரியா இருந்தான்னா தத்துவமசின்னு உடனே அகம் பிரம்மாஸ்மின்ற ஞானம் வர முடியும். அப்படி உத்தமாதிகாரியா இல்லைன்னா என்ன பண்றது, அவனுக்கு மனனம், அதாவது வாத்தியார் என்ன சொல்லி கொடுத்தாரோ, சிரவணம் என்ன உபதேசம் பண்ணாரோ, அந்த அங்க என்ன ப்ராப்ளம் வரும்னா பிரமாண அசம்பாவனை பிரமேய அசம்பாவனைன்னு நம்ம வாங்கின்ற விஷயத்தை கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணிக்க முடியாதபடி 2 அப்டக்கிள்ஸ் இருக்கு. அந்த அப்டக்கிள்ஸ் போறதுக்காக தான் இந்த சிரவண மனனம் ரெண்டும் பண்றோம். அதுக்கப்புறம் நம்மளுடைய பழைய சம்ஸ்காரங்கள்னா, இப்ப ஜடபரதற்கு ஏற்பட்டது இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி பழைய சம்ஸ்காரங்கள்னால சில சமயங்கள்ல சறுக்கல்கள் ஏற்படலாம். இந்த அஜபா காயத்ரிங்கிறதெல்லாம் என்ன ஆகும்னாக்க சிரவணத்தினால சறுக்கல்கள் ஏற்பட்டதுன்னாக்க அதை போக்கடிக்கிறதுக்கு அந்த அளவுக்கு பக்குவம் இருக்கக்கூடியவாளா இருந்தாக்க அதை போக்கடிக்கிறதுக்கான நிதித்தியாசனத்துக்கான ப்ராசஸ் ஆவனா இருக்கலாமோ இல்ல கன்சிடர் அவன் எப்படி பண்றா ஏதா பண்றாங்கிறத பொறுத்தது. அஜபா காயத்ரிங்கிற வார்த்தையை சொன்னதுனாலயே அது வந்து என்ன ஆகும்னா இப்படின்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. அஜபா காயத்ரிங்கிறது வெறும் சோகம் ஹம்சா ஹம்ச சோகம் சோகம் சோகம்னு திருப்பி நம்ம சொல்லிட்டே இருந்தோம்னாக்க அது அஜபா காயத்ரி ஆகுமான்னு தெரியாது. ஏன்னா அஜபாங்கிறது வந்து ஜபம் இல்லாத ஜபம். ஜபம் இல்லாத ஜபம்னா சோகம் ஹம்சகாங்கிற வார்த்தையை உபயோகப்படுத்திட்டு இருந்தான்னா அது ஜப காயத்ரி ஆகக்கூடிய அஜபாவா ஆகாது. அதனால அவன் எப்படி பண்றான்
ஜபத்துக்கே சொல்லல.
இல்ல உதாரணத்துக்கு சொல்றேன். அஜபாங்கிறதுனால நான் சொன்னேன். சோ அதுல நிதித்தியாசனத்துக்கு வேணா ஏதாவது சான்சஸ் இருக்கலாமே ஒழிய அப்பவும் ஞானம் அந்த சிரவணத்தை பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் வரப்போறதே ஒழிய இதனால இது வந்து அந்த சிரவணத்தினுடைய பிரதிபந்தகத்தை போக்குறதுக்கு கூட உபயோகமா இருக்கலாம். பட் ஞானம்னு சொன்னா பிரமாணத்தினாலதான் வரணும்.
எதுக்கு நான் சொன்னேன்னா, ஏன்னா இப்போ அஜபா காயத்ரியில ஒரு மந்திரம்னா எடுத்துட்டோம்னா மந்திரத்தை உபதேசம் பண்றதுக்கு உபதேசம் இருக்கு. அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த நிதித்தியாசனமும் அதுல வந்துடுறது. நிதித்தியாசனமும் இருக்கு, மந்திர உபதேசமும் இருக்கு. அண்ட் இப்போ இது வாயால சொல்லணும் அவசியம் இல்லை, வெறும் மனசுக்குள்ளேயே நினைச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம். அது நினைச்சுட்டு இருக்கிறது வந்து இந்த ஒரு எப்படி ஒரு வேதாந்தத்தை சொல்லக்கூடிய இது வாக்கியமாக இருக்கக்கூடிய அகம் பிரம்மாஸ்மியும் அதுல வந்துடுறது. அதனால கேட்கறேன்.
அப்படி இது இப்ப நம்ம சந்தியாவந்தனத்திலேயே அகம் பிரம்மாஸ்மி இருக்கு.
அங்கெல்லாம் நிதித்தியாசனம் கிடையாது, சும்மா சொல்லிட்டு போயிட்டு இருக்கா ஏதோ வார்த்தைகள்ல.
நிறைய இடங்கள்ல அதே மாதிரிதான் இருக்குமே ஒழிய அஜபா காயத்ரிங்கிறதுனாலயே அது வந்து இதுவாயிடாது. பேருன்னு நிதித்தியாசனம் அது யார் எப்படி உபயோகப்படுத்துறா, எந்த கான்டெக்ட்ல உபயோகப்படுத்துறா, எந்த மாதிரி அதிகாரியா இருந்துன்னு உபயோகப்படுத்துறா, அதெல்லாமும் இருக்கும் இல்லையோ.
அதற்கு
பட் அது இருந்ததுன்னா that will convert itself into a pramana.
Oh, that's good. Very good. Fine. Thank you. My doubt is cleared.
Any more questions? Yamuna?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Okay. Balu, am I heard? KSB, I'm heard. KS, sir?
So.
Okay. Shall we wind up?
Yeah.
Post தான் சொல்லணும். யார் வித்யாவா இல்ல யமுனாவா இல்ல பாலுவா?
இல்ல டாக்டர் காமேஷ்.
இல்ல மிஷின் யார் கையில இருக்கு ஆபரேட் பண்றவா?
That's Yamuna. Okay. Thank you, sir, for your very good lecture. I like the very beautiful explanation about cause and effect, which even the physicists of today are trying to solve. Either it is quartz or it is chaos or it is something else or butterfly effect or something. They have to give a cause for some effect. So that goes on, which we have discussed in our ancient texts. That's really interesting. And in your discourse, I found that whatever we are asking today have been thought of by those ancient seers. Have answered every question that we may raise after 2000 years or something like that. That's really wonderful. They have foreseen everything. And thank you very much for a clear-cut lecture. And I thank Dr. Arthreya, who has not participated, probably might not have got the link. And thank him for making this endowment and all those people who have contributed to this endowment, and to people who have participated today for this lecture. And I thank everyone who has been instrumental in making this webinar a good go. Thank you. We will wind up with this. Thank you.
Saturday.
Yeah, there is going to be another meeting. As usual, I have forgotten, and Balasubramanian is helping me to remember. Next, this Saturday at 6 o'clock, we are having a lecture by Dr. Sweta Prajapati from Baroda Institute, Gujarat. She will be talking on manuscript editions produced by Dr. K.S. Ramaswamy Sastry. So we'll be hearing about what his contributions to manuscript edition. So we will meet again on on 18th, 6 o'clock. Good night.
Yeah. That is under Dr. Janaki endowment.
Yes. Which again I missed.
This experiment is a good one.
Yeah. This, yeah, it had gone well. Very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you.
Professor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Professor Yamuna,
Yes, sir,
Professor
yes, sir.
Yamuna, Dr. Muthu Madam, you are all specially thanked on this occasion. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for the wonderful discussion, sir. Sir, thank you for the lecture, sir. Enlightening lecture.
We might give one. It's starting to share content.